Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I believe this may mark the first occasion in the history of our House where a member has honored a person who just months ago put a member in the hospital. I always knew Lieutenant Jordan Frayne, my commanding officer, was a tough guy, but until our unit boxing training, I didn't really understand the power that he had until I was hit with a right hook. And while waiting for those x-rays, I wrote a different set of remarks about Lieutenant Frayne, but I've decided to go ahead with my original remarks. I started by saying that I always knew he was tough, but I refer to a toughness that is more moral in nature than it is physical. Toughness and the will to stand and to fight has always been part of the 28th Infantry Division's mission. During World War I, the actions of our unit led General Pershing to say, "These are not soldiers, these are men of iron," giving us our nickname, the Iron Division. During the war in Iraq, that name was reaffirmed. I'd like to take a moment to discuss two cases during the war in Iraq where men wearing the keystone on their shoulder decided to stand and fight. Lieutenant Jordan Frayne is not only my sparring partner, and a good one at that, but he's my commanding officer. He served in Iraq in 2004 as a gunner with the 18th Airborne Corps. In 2004, Lieutenant Frayne's gun truck was ambushed by at least 4 men with AK-47s and grenades. The enemy vehicle opened fire on Lieutenant Frayne's truck, mortally wounding his platoon sergeant and seriously wounding another soldier. Lieutenant Frayne was then blown from the Humvee with a grenade. Although concussed from the grenade and bleeding badly from shrapnel wounds, he secured a rifle and killed remaining enemy personnel and held off others until reinforcements arrived. For his bravery, he was awarded the Bronze Star for Valor, and for his wounds, he was awarded the Purple Heart. There are many similar tales of heroism, like the one I've just described by my commanding officer. But that wasn't the end of the war in Iraq for Lieutenant Frayne. His unit was sent to Fallujah, and then they were sent to Sadr City. He was wounded 2 more times during operations in those cities. But rather than accept 2 more Purple Hearts, he declined them. He refused them so he could stay with his unit. He decided to stay and fight. One of our other guests here today is General Gronsky. And I'm not sure if General Gronsky remembers the first time I met him was on a place called Observation Post 293 in Ramadi, Iraq in 2006. General Gronsky came to Observation Point 293 to assess battle damage and the current conditions after a brutal attack on our outpost. Just days before, a coordinated attack killed 2 members of the small team that we had served with. They were Marine Corps Captain Brian Latendre and Army Sergeant Joe Proctor. When the enemy attacked OP-2903 on May 3rd, 2006, their intent was not to harass us and leave. Their intent was not to kill 1 or 2 soldiers and use it for propaganda. Their intent was to completely destroy that observation point and kill everyone in it. The attack began with mortar rounds, rocket-propelled grenades, direct automatic weapons fire. Our troops fought back valiantly until a truck bomb packed with 300 pounds of explosives breached the gate and made its run for the main body of troops on the observation point. Before it could get there, Sergeant Proctor shot and killed the driver. He shot and killed the driver of a dump truck packed with explosives that was bearing down on him. As soon as he killed the driver, the truck detonated, killing Sergeant Proctor. He had the option to run, but he stood and fought because that's his job. A group of us from the team arrived shortly at the scene, after the attack, to find some of the Iraqi soldiers jumping on trucks in an attempt to flee, assuming that the post would be abandoned since it was largely destroyed. Our Marine Corps First Sergeant Craig Cressman ordered them back on the truck and back off the truck and back into the fight. In true Iron Division fashion, retreat was not what our brigade commander had in mind. We rebuilt Observation Point 293 and a small group of us defended it. While the OP was strategically important, it was little more than a blown-out storage facility that we used to conduct patrols. There were several more attempts by the insurgents to drive us from that point, but armed with the knowledge that our brothers in arms had paid in blood for that ground, we made certain that all of those attacks failed. When General Gronsky came out to Observation Point 293, he told us to stand and fight, and we had planned to do nothing less. Today, Lieutenant Jordan Frayne is the Rear Detachment Commander of the A104th Cavalry in Philadelphia. He continues to serve in the Pennsylvania National Guard despite his injuries. Today, General Gronsky is the commanding general of the 28th Infantry Division. He continues to serve with the unenviable task of knowing that he may again have to send his soldiers into harm's way. And while Sergeant Joe Proctor was killed that day in Ramadi, his service is not over either. After word of his father's death was given to his family, Joey Proctor, Joe's son, went right down and joined the National Guard. Proctor and men like him still serve us every day. They remind us that when faced with the option to fight or run, the choice should always be clear. These soldiers serve as a reminder that it's not the length of our lives, it's not the amount of money we've made or the power that we accrue that matter. What matters is that when it's all said and done, will those that you leave behind be proud of you? Will they say you stood up in the face of adversity? Will they say that you were a devoted citizen to your Commonwealth and to your country? Mr. Speaker, I submit to you these heroes who would say they were just doing their jobs. I would say that they've inspired us all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.